Hey Bulldogs, Cole Keanier here with my good friend Jonathan Gordon. Excited to be back after a week off, or 2 weeks off.
It's been almost 2 weeks since we recorded last, so a lot to get it caught up on.
Fall sports are coming to a close. It's been a hectic finish with a bunch of home games for all of our sports.
Absolutely.
And then obviously some are in the postseason already.
Correct. Yes. Well, the soccer seasons have gone in the postseason. Cross country. That's probably the big one that we're looking at right now, and of course swimming. Right around the corner with that, and volleyball just started their district tournament last night with the championship coming up here in a couple days. And so, yeah, definitely we're in that postseason mode. Getting ready, and hopefully we'll have another 3 or 4 weeks of fall stuff to report on. I guess maybe not. Probably just another couple weeks
yeah.
with volleyball. Being the latest of our postseason teams, and actually swimming too.
Well, cross country headed into it this weekend. Our league and district champion boys and girls cross country programs are hoping to be high on the podium in Pasco.
They are, and we won both district titles last weekend in Sela. The men very convincingly. I think they scored 32, and Sela was next with 63 points. The girls they had 41. I think second place was 59. Of course, lowest score in cross country wins because you get points for whatever place you are, and that's so lowest 5 scores. And we had individual champion on the girls' side, Emma Beachy, ran one of her best races, I think, and it really distanced herself from the field. The boys, I think our top finisher was 4, but we had like 5 or 6 out of the top 10. I mean, we were very strong in numbers, even though we weren't one of the top 3 finishers individually. But that's a true team reflection of where the team is at.
Well, and it sounds a lot like the recently released boys and girls cross-country CWAC all-conference results. Emma Beachy finished first in league, first in district, and she also was voted as runner of the year.
Yep.
And I think we had 5 or 6 boys between first and second team recognition. Among those were Brody Michael and Mystic Hammond on the first team. And then Joseph Frommers and Caden Matson are on the second team. I think Max Steele was also on the
Max Steele was there, and David Hammond, I think, was honorable mention. He was right there. And actually, we had several honorable mention runners, even though we only ran 7 in the varsity meet for both genders. Conference protocol says, hey, if you run the JV race and you finish with a time that would have been among the top 21 in the varsity race, you get honorable mention all conference. So we were able to pick up another 2 boys and 4 girls that way on the all conference team.
Mariana Crosby worked her way in there. That girl's had a great season and was able to get on that all conference selection list.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So it's really cool for our kids. 19 total all conference selections between the boys and girls.
That's a huge number. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Kudos to our staff and Coach Hashimoto. Boys and girls cross country headed to Pasco this weekend. You heard us talk about it. They're going to race at WIA State cross country, and our girls will start their race at 11 a.m. and the boys will follow at 12:30. And again, we're hoping that we have some kids up on the podium.
And I was doing a little bit of research today in preparation for this, as far as how strong Bulldog cross country has been, and we've talked about it. Doing some research, this is the 11th straight state championship in which our girls, as a team, have made it. So that means they were one of the top 2 district finishing teams. That's 11 years in a row. Of course, we didn't have a championship in 2020 because of COVID and so on. But that's pretty phenomenal. You go back to about 2013, I think last time, 2012, 2013, last time we didn't have a girls team there, and the boys, very similar. I mean, they've been among the top 5 in 2A in the 2019 state title. Boys finished 3rd in 2019. The 9th time in 10 championships for the boys that they have had a team represented there. So we'll have 7 runners competing, on Saturday in Pasco. So hopefully, another top 5 finish, and who knows, maybe even better than that. So looking forward to it.
We have an incredible group of kids and an incredible group of families and an incredible group of coaches. But the one constant through the years, I've been here for 10. This is my year 11 now. Coach Hashimoto's been here for 20 years. And in half of that time, he's taken a team, not individuals, a team to the state championships.
And actually more than that. I mean, that's just our current streak.
For sure. But the point being is that he has transformed Ellensburg cross country.
Absolutely.
When he got here, we had 6 or 7 runners, and now we routinely are over 106, 107.
Right.
So it's an incredible program that he has built over the last 20 years, and we are super fortunate to have him on staff here.
We are, absolutely.
Well, not only cross country in the district championships, and now on to state, but our swimmers have a week off before they move on to state at the King County Aquatic Center. Last weekend they competed in Pullman, finished fourth overall out of 16 teams.
I think so, yeah.
And we have a number of kids who are going to go compete at Federal Way this next week.
Next weekend, yeah, we'll have 5 of our student athletes will go out of our 8 or 9 athlete roster. And those those individuals are going to be part of the relay teams, and we have 2 relay squads that have qualified for state by being among the top 4 in the region. And of course, our region it's not like our traditional conferences where it's all CWAC. I mean, certainly I think 5 of our 7 CWAC schools have swimming, but we kind of merge together with the Greater Spokane League. We bring up there isn't classification below 2A, so it's like a 1A 2A league. So you've got Zilla and Toppenish, I think, Cashmere, Clallam Roslyn even,
Yep.
So that's what that championship's going to be looking like. And, we got 4th. I think Sealam was the only traditional opponent that finished ahead of us. Of course, Pullman won, they are. And so, but to come away as strong as we did, we beat some of our, teams that we see week in and week out that maybe earlier in the year were beating us in team scores, on a meet-by-meet basis, got ahead of them at the regionals. And we could have some more individuals possibly sneaking in as a wild card come this weekend once all the rest of the district championships and things like that pan out.
Well, names that you've heard us mention before: Macy Holloway, Cheyenne Schewel, both individual qualifiers in 200 free and 100 butterfly for Macy, and then 50 free for Cheyenne. Cheyenne, however, hasn't practiced for a couple of days because she's in Indianapolis competing for a national FFA marketing team
There
title.
you go.
So she'll be back here shortly, but good luck to her and Jameson Phillip and
Megan Wagner.
Yep. They're competing in Indianapolis right now.
Absolutely. I think they made it. I think we saw today they made it to the semifinals.
Final 4. Yeah, exactly right.
Which is phenomenal. So
which would be so cool for them.
Good for them. Not only for what they do in the field or pool or on the court, but what they're doing, in the classroom and with the FFA and things like that.
Absolutely.
So fantastic for them.
Fun fact too, in case you didn't know, Cheyenne Schewel is part of the WIA LEAP committee, which is a student group that comes from across the state to help with WIA events and activities, and the student voice is heard by that group who is selected. So really proud of Cheyenne for all the work that she's doing, not only in pool, not only with WIA LEAP committee, but also with her FFA chapter.
Yep.
Well, football's going to call it a season at the end of this week. Friday night, we take on the Shadle Park Highlanders. Had a couple of weeks where we defeated an East Valley team that came in strong. They had a good streak of wins going with them, and we were able to take care of business 33-17. And then traveled to Ephrata and lost a heartbreaker 13-0. Our defense has been incredible, but we've had some offensive struggles.
Absolutely. And, that East Valley game to finish out our regular schedule, our home schedule that is, with a win against probably one of the top offenses in the conference this year. To be able to kind of shut them down as we did in the manner in which we did was a great way for our seniors to close out the regular schedule. Not knowing what Week 10 was going to look like, and then we ended up getting another home game on Friday against Shadle Park. So that was really a good effort. And it was it was an all around. It wasn't just the offense, scoring 33. It wasn't just giving up 17, which is pretty good against if you're playing one of the top offenses. But it was just a solid all around game for us. To take care of a team that I think started the year 5-0. I think they've done it a couple years in a row where they've started out really strong, non-conference schedule, maybe not so strong at the beginning of the year for them. And so to kind of take that momentum and then actually end up putting East Valley down in the 5 spot, in the final conference standings, actually the 6th spot, excuse me. And so that'll be that was a good way for us to have a senior night and things like that. The Ephrata game last week, certainly you were there. Just couldn't get any offense going. But Ephrata, finished 5-1 in league. And they're headed to the state tournament and so on, and so to be able to hold them to 13 on their own field, I know they've been putting up some points against other competition. I think they scored 27 when they played Othello. They've had some other games where they've been in the 20s and maybe even beyond. So to hold them to 13 on their own field on their senior night, again, defense continuing to do what it's capable of doing. Now, hopefully that translates to tomorrow night against Shadle Park. They're number 10 in the RPI this week. They were in a 3-way tie for second in the Greater Spokane League with West Valley, Spokane, and Rogers. Rogers actually ended up winning that 3-team playoff to get the state berth, the second state berth from the GSL. And so Shadle Park finished third out of that 3-way tiebreaker, so that they're coming here, and Prosser's going to West Valley, and we'll see how things go. One more go for our seniors in week 10. Hopefully, finish with a 500 record overall.
Absolutely, and Shadle Park, I know, lost some kids to injury. We lost some kids to injury, so anything could happen. I don't care what numbers say and how many points people put up. Like, it's going to be a different game because they're going to have different athletes, and we're going to have different athletes competing on the field on Friday night.
Sure, and being able to be at home and not having to do that 2.5-3 hour bus ride it should be to our benefit.
Yep, for sure. Well, the girls soccer team wrapped up their season with losses to Othello and Ephrata. Othello had a great first half, and the second half just couldn't hold on over at Othello. And then home versus Ephrata, we got out to a quick 3-0 lead, and then had just a phenomenal first half of play. The kids were doing a great job, and then Ephrata just kind of came storming back, and they're a quality team, don't get me wrong, but I think we had a few mental lapses that cost us ultimately in that game.
Right, and the Ephrata game, the Othello game was a must-win game for us to keep our postseason hopes alive, and that didn't materialize. So it was good to see on our senior day. We had 1 or 2 seniors, but last home game of the year, you want to go out on a winning note. And the offense was firing in the first half. Get that 3-0 lead, and that was the first time we'd scored 3 goals in a game this year. And Berkeley Shields got 2 of those. I think she had 4 of her goals in the last 5 games for the season, and so she had those 2. I think did Lane Rogel have the other one?
Yep.
And so we built that lead, and against Ephrata, who was going to be going to the playoffs, and they ended up going in as the number 5 seed, I believe. And they got at least 1 win in the district tournament. So we had them on the ropes early, but unfortunately they were able to come back and not only get the equalizing goal in the second half, but then get the game winner as well.
Well, on the same note too, we talked about our football team getting bit by the injury bug. Our soccer team got bit real early, so we're without some key players. But ultimately, we only graduated 2 kids, so we're hoping that all those kids come back and we continue to bolster that soccer program and have a different showing next year if everybody can stay healthy.
Exactly. And one thing we were talking, we've talked a lot about offense too, is we were very balanced offensively. I don't remember how many players have scored goals, at least 1 goal this year, probably in the vicinity of 8 or 9. Yeah. But your leading goal scorer had 6 in Lane Rogel. I think Berkeley Shields finished with 5. So a lot of balance there and a lot of experience. Lane, especially having been an all-conference performer, each of her first 2 years. I think she was even a first teamer last year, if I remember correctly. So she'll be coming back as a senior and things like that. You'll get Jamison Phillip back, hopefully, next year for her senior year. A very, very prominent goal scorer for us in years past, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely.
Again with everybody else that had been able to contribute. Very balanced, and hopefully that will continue, and we'll have good things to talk about in 2024 for girls soccer.
Well, and last but not least, our volleyball team is playing for a district championship on Saturday, 2 o'clock here at Ellensburg High School. Finished as league champs, battling for a district championship here on Saturday. And then if we win district championship, we head to Yakima, play in the state tournament. If we lose that district championship game, we'll turn around and play again at 6 o'clock in a consolation match, and a loser go home, winner to state match. And hopefully we're not even talking about that 6 p.m. game, but we had a long road ahead. Again, injuries continue to plague our teams, but we lose a key contributor in Hazel Murphy, and so some other kids. Andy Musser has stepped up. I know Coach Stickle has kind of reworked the lineup a little bit to fill in some of the gaps that Hazel's leaving. But ultimately, we played one of our best matches of the year, I thought, on Monday versus Ephrata. Kids stepped up and had a great night. Absolutely.
And you take a look at what we've done against the 2 primary rivals, if you will, at least in volleyball over the last several years. Sela for much longer than that. They're one of them, and we handled them, pretty easily in the 2 matches we faced. Played them during the regular season as well as at the Sun Dome back in September to start the year. We won't need to worry about facing them except maybe in that 6 o'clock.
Right.
But again, that's hopefully that's a moot discussion. Against Ephrata in the on Monday, yeah, we handled them pretty well at home, and I think we did a similar thing when we played over in Grant County against them earlier in the year. So hopefully that trend will continue for us. This is the third year in a row that Ellensburg and Ephrata are facing off in the district title match. Last year we beat them here. I think it was in straight sets. The year before we went 5 with them over in Ephrata, where they ended up getting the tiebreaker on us. We split during the regular season, but then with a number draw, they ended up getting to host, and so we had to face them there and lost in 5, but then turned around and earned a state berth, in a similar format to what it looks like this year. But again, hopefully we're not talking about a 6 o'clock match other than who's that second team coming from the CWAC into the state tournament.
Well, our volleyball team's got a lot of weapons, a lot of kids who do a lot of things well, and Ephrata's go-to is Addie Mills.
Yep.
And incredible human Addie Mills, incredible athlete Addie Mills.
Absolutely.
But I'm hopeful that our 6 weapons can really take on their big gun in Addie, and hopefully, again, like you said, we get out of that 2 o'clock match and we're on to state.
Exactly.
Well, if you want to follow Bulldog Athletics, you can visit our website, ehsbulldogs.com. You can also visit Daily Record website, Ellensburg Community Radio. But please follow along. NFHSnetwork.com has a lot of videos from this year, both in football and volleyball. And then if you want to attend the Yakima Sundome State Volleyball Championships, those will be held next Saturday, November 10th and 11th. And then our swimmers will be gone November 9th and 10th over in King County Aquatic Center in Federal Way for their championship meet as well.
Yep.
Thank you so much, JG, for joining us. Go Bulldogs, and we'll probably be reporting close to winter sports on our next broadcast.
Sounds good. Go Bulldogs.